The envelope was still warm. 6:12 a.m. I know the exact time because the sunrise hadn't cleared the palm trees yet when I opened my front door and found it lying there like a threat. Official seal. Federal court header. Case number. My name in bold. And beneath it, an eviction order signed by a United States District Judge. My hands didn't shake when I picked it up. They shook when I read the signature. Hun Sarah Rivera. My wife's name. Brenda Kessler, our HOA president, had just forged a federal judge's signature to remove my family from our own home. For months she'd targeted us, the Riveras, the Lucys, the Patels, every family that didn't look like her. Fines for lawn height measured to the quarter inch. Warnings about cultural disturbances. Letters about community character. Last week she stood on my driveway and said calmly, "People like you don't last long here." Now she was pretending the federal government agreed with her. What she didn't know, what no one in Sunset Ridge knew, was that the woman whose name she'd forged wasn't just some random judge. She was married to me. And she had just become Brenda's worst problem. But here's the part that still makes me laugh. Brenda didn't wake up that morning thinking she was committing a federal felony. She thought she was winning. And when power-drunk people think they've won, that's when they make their biggest mistake. Let me show you how she destroyed herself. 3 years ago, Sunset Ridge felt like safety. 147 homes. Retirees, young families, quiet evenings. HOA dues were reasonable. The board handled landscaping and left people alone. Then Brenda moved in. White Lexus, perfect hair, recently divorced. And suddenly, she needed something to control. Within 2 months, she was HOA president. Her campaign pitch: restoring standards. At first, people clapped. Then the letters started. My work truck. Unauthorized commercial display, $75. The Lucy's stir-fry smell drifting across fences. Air quality nuisance. The Patels hosting Diwali. Excessive illumination. Meanwhile, the Petersons' RV blocked the sidewalk for 2 weeks. No citation. Pattern recognition isn't hard. I appealed my truck fine using the HOA bylaws. There was no rule banning work vehicles in driveways. Brenda smiled at the board meeting and said, "The board interprets community spirit beyond written language." Community spirit. Translation, I decide. 2 weeks later, I received a lawn violation. Grass measured at 2.75 inches, limit 2.5. Quarter-inch violation. $150 fine. She attached photos. Close-ups of a ruler pressed into my yard. I hired a landscaping company to measure properly. They laughed. "Your lawn's compliant," the owner told me. She measured one stretched blade. That's when something shifted. Because this wasn't random. It was systematic. Mrs. Lucy knocked on our door one evening, eyes red. She says our cooking is culturally aggressive. Culturally aggressive. Mr. Patel brought spreadsheets to our kitchen table. 43 citations issued in 6 months, he said, 39 to minority households. You could feel the air change. This wasn't HOA enforcement. It was targeted pressure. Then Brenda escalated. Certified letters arrived threatening escalated compliance measures. Legal language. References to court. She held an emergency meeting and accused me of intimidating board members because I'd requested financial transparency. I started digging into HOA filing records. And I found something interesting. Her election paperwork had never been properly filed with the county, meaning her authority to enforce fines was legally questionable. When that came up at the next meeting, her tone changed. "You people love technicalities," she snapped. "You people." The room went silent. She recovered quickly. Too quickly. "Fine," she said. "If this continues, I'll take it to federal court." Federal court. I went home and told my wife what Brenda said. Sarah listened quietly. Then she asked, "Did she use the phrase federal jurisdiction?" "Yes." Her jaw tightened slightly. Most neighbors thought my wife worked a boring government job downtown. She kept it vague on purpose. Judges don't advertise. Over the next week, Brenda doubled down. Letters became more aggressive. Deadlines shorter. Threats louder. And then came the certified envelope. The one with my wife's forged signature. But here's the part Brenda never considered. Federal judges don't just handle paperwork. They understand patterns. And once Sarah saw that document, it stopped being neighborhood drama. It became something else entirely. I'll be honest. For 24 hours, I felt fear. Because the document looked real. Case number. Seal. Official formatting. If you don't know court procedure, you'd panic. And panic is power. Brenda counted on that. Within hours, Mrs. Lucy called. "We got one too." Then the Patels. Then the Gonzalez family. 12 households. Same forged order. Same signature. It demanded compliance fines totaling $2,400. Threatened removal within 72 hours. People were terrified. Kids crying. Parents calling moving companies. Brenda had achieved what months of harassment hadn't. Fear. That night, Sarah spread the documents across our kitchen table. No emotion. Just analysis. "The seal is copied," she said calmly. "The case number format is wrong. The signature isn't even close." She looked at me. She forged a federal judge's name. I swallowed. "Yours." She nodded. "And distributed it to multiple households." That's when the weight hit. Forgery isn't a neighborhood dispute. It's a federal offense. But here, where things felt dangerous, Sarah couldn't just jump in. Judicial ethics require recusal from personal matters. She couldn't be my wife in court. If this turned into a case, she'd step aside, which meant we had to handle it carefully. Brenda, meanwhile, announced another meeting to discuss federal compliance timelines. She believed her bluff worked. And for a moment, it almost did. Neighbors started whispering. What if it's real? What if she has connections? That doubt is poison. I called the clerk's office anonymously. No such case existed, which meant the next step was obvious, but terrifying. If we reported her, this would explode. Media, federal investigation, neighborhood chaos. And if somehow she twisted the story, we'd be those people who destroyed property values. For one night, I considered letting it go. Paying fines, keeping quiet, protecting peace. That's how bullies survive. They exhaust you. They isolate you. They make resistance feel heavier than surrender. Brenda sensed weakness. The next morning, she emailed the entire community. Judge Rivera has validated our enforcement actions. That line changed everything. She didn't just forge a document. She publicly claimed a federal judge endorsed discrimination. That's when Sarah closed her laptop and said quietly, "She just escalated beyond recovery." And the fear, it started shifting. From us to her. We didn't go to the police first. We documented every letter, every recording, every witness. Then we contacted federal authorities through proper channels. Quietly, professionally. When you claim a federal judge signed something they did, that gets attention. Vast. An assistant U.S. attorney met with us privately. We handed over 12 forged orders. Emails claiming judicial validation. Meeting recordings. Financial records of collected fines. The prosecutor's expression shifted from curiosity to focus. "This isn't just forgery," she said. "It's impersonation of a federal official. That carries weight." A week later, Brenda held another HOA meeting. Victory tone. Printed agendas. She stood at the podium and said, "We now have federal backing." That's when the back doors opened. 2 federal agents entered. Calm, professional. "Brenda Kessler." "Silence. We need to speak with you regarding fraudulent federal documents." The room froze. Her face drained. "I don't understand." "You distributed court orders bearing a forged federal judge's signature." Neighbors turned slowly. Someone whispered, "Judge Rivera." That's when Sarah walked in. Not dramatically, not theatrically, just steady, professional. Brenda's eyes locked onto her. Confusion, recognition, horror. "You," she stammered. Sarah's voice was controlled. "You forged my signature and claimed I support discriminatory enforcement." No yelling, no theatrics, just authority. Brenda tried to explain. "Everyone does templates, I just..." The agent interrupted. "You are under investigation for federal forgery and impersonation." No handcuffs that night. But formal charges came. She hired a defense attorney. Reality set in. This wasn't HOA drama. It was federal court. And the irony. The case was randomly assigned to another judge in the same district. One who took judicial impersonation very seriously. Brenda eventually accepted a plea agreement. Multiple counts reduced. Restitution ordered. Probation. Heavy fines. Mandatory resignation. Public record. No prison headline drama. Just something worse. Permanent stain. Brenda sold her house 6 months later. Quietly. No goodbye party. No victory speech. The Lexus disappeared. The fines she collected were refunded. The HOA board restructured with transparency requirements. Mrs. Lucy became president. Mr. Patel handled financial oversight. Community meetings shifted from enforcement to improvement. And something unexpected happened. The tension lifted. Block parties returned. Cultural celebrations weren't violations anymore. They were invitations. My truck still sits in the driveway. No one measures the grass. And sometimes I think about that morning. The warm envelope. The forged signature. The moment Brenda believed she had absolute power. Power without accountability feels intoxicating. Until it is. She didn't lose because she targeted a federal judge. She lost because she believed rules didn't apply to her. And here's the part I still wonder about. If she had never forged that document, if she had stopped at harassment, would she still be HOA president? Would people still be afraid? So I'll ask you this. If someone in your neighborhood abused authority but stayed just inside the legal line, would you fight it? Or would you wait for them to cross it? Because sometimes the line is thinner than a quarter-inch blade of grass.